Hi, welcome to Downshift. My name is Matt. And this might be the best little SUV to come out of Germany. The new BMW X1, the foray into Bavaria's lineup from the SUV angle. The new BMW X1 is bigger, more powerful, and more complete than ever. But in a marketplace of other highly competitive German SUVs, is it the obvious choice? That's what we're here to find out. The X1, now in its third generation, it's learned a lot about what people are looking for, and spoiler alert, it's delivered. The X1 is better looking than ever, it's bigger and more spacious than ever, and it's more powerful than ever, with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder thumping away under the hood and spitting out 241 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. This micro SUV doesn't bring micro performance. This little SUV manages to sprint to 60 in just about 6 seconds, and it's not even the M-lite version. Now that number may not seem sound barrier shattering, but this thing manages to feel more quick and athletic than you might think. And here's the cool thing, the X1 for this generation comes with all-wheel drive standard. So the way that it sends power from the engine to all 4 wheels is actually through a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. I mean, the M cars don't even get a dual clutch. That powertrain combo isn't just quick, but it's also reasonably efficient. The X1 will manage 25 mpg in the city and almost 35 mpg on the highway. And it's not even EV egg-shaped. But the reality is, like I mentioned, this isn't even the M-lite version or the M-sport trim. It's just the normal X1, which means it's just a normal luxury SUV that has a sporting pedigree. So, is it as luxe as it needs to be behind the wheel? In a word, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that it offers the same refinement as an X3, but the visibility is excellent, it feels solid and not buzzy at all from the powertrain. The steering it's sharp and responsive, although it is a little bit light, and the cabin is quiet and really, really relaxing for the price point. And it's just got a nice and sophisticated ride, again, especially considering this segment. So with that, let's jump outside and talk about the finer details. So, behind the wheel, this thing is fairly lively, and it kind of stands out against things like the Q3s and the GLAs and the Volvo XC40s. And you know what? It might also be one of the best looking BMWs on sale today. The X1 is a much more classic SUV shape with more boxy proportions, which I personally love. The face is more bold and aggressive, but without going to the new elongated kidney grille. The running lights are very similar to the design of the new 3 Series, aka handsome. Around the side, the X1 is taller than last year, but it's also 2 inches longer, which means more space on the interior. As far as wheels, you can get up to 20 inches on the M Sport models, but these are the nice 18 inches. You get a nice silver satin finish to your wing mirror, you get a big pano roof, and the rear design is simple and modern looking. I like the more angular design of the taillights. And one more thing to love about the X1 is its segment-defying trunk space. But with that, let's step inside, because there's a lot to talk about in there too. And then the interior of the X1 is clean, it's modern, and is done in a really tasteful way. I actually really like it. Starting with the design of the cabin, it's very modern, which is typical from BMW. You've got these new big dual screens for your gauge cluster and infotainment system. Your infotainment is running the new iDrive 8. However, unlike the iDrive 8 in the new iX, i4, and 3 Series, the curved display here is more integrated into the dash, which is nice. But since it is iDrive 8, you get great features like wireless Apple CarPlay, awesome cameras, reverse assist, and a home screen that's widget-based and totally customizable. One thing to note though is that with this new system, they've gotten rid of pretty much all the buttons and switches, so climate and radio presets you once had on the dash are now in the screen. And then jumping out of your screens, you've got a new steering wheel design. You've got a very similar floating center console design to the iX we tested, and that's where you'll get your tab-style gear selector, drive modes, etc. One thing you won't get on that center console is the typical iDrive control wheel. This is one of the first BMWs to get rid of it entirely. And of course, you have some nice luxury touches like upscale leathers. And then we talk about the rear seats, and they're super spacious, surprisingly so. They don't offer heating in the rear, but the pano roof really brings in a lot of light. Overall, it's totally comfortable, even for adults. Ultimately, this is a nicer cabin experience than anything you're going to get in this segment. The materials are nice, the build is really solid, and it's deceptively roomy in here. So with that, I think let's get into the final thoughts. So there it is, the new BMW X1. I'll reiterate what I just said. From an interior perspective, it's what I would consider segment leading. From an exterior perspective, it's very handsome, and from a driving perspective, it's a solid and peppy little thing that I wouldn't mind driving every day. So thanks to my friends at International BMW for letting me have a go.